So here we are with a head-to-head of Assassin's Creed 4 on the PS4, the PC and the Xbox One. The first thing you can notice is the rain effects. If you look at the console on the left of PS4, rain is far more pronounced and is multi-directional in its particle effects compared to the PC. If you jump to the Xbox One, you can see the output slightly darker. Now I'll mention that a little bit later in the video, but fundamentally there's no real huge difference in both versions, other than what can clearly be seen is rain. If you jump to the PC version, we can see here it's running at a full native 1080p and it runs at 60 frames per second. You can see that the ropes in the background, the trees on the hill, and the water splash there. Everything's nice and crisp. There's no pixel crawl. There's no like wavery movements going on. All looks very nice, very clean. If we now jump to the Xbox One version, you can see straight away pixel crawl on the ropes and the thin objects. You can see it more in the background, the mast of the ship there. As I pan the camera around and walk towards it, you can just see on the ropes, the thin objects, the water in the background. There's just that slight wavy mesh look to the pixel, which is basically the lower resolution, the lower AA solution gives it that pixel crawl effect. If we jump to the PS4 version, you can see realistically it's the same as the Xbox One version, a little bit lighter, but that resolution difference in the AA solution does make that better difference. You can just see less movement, less pixel crawl. Everything looks a lot crisper, a lot cleaner. And again, the rain. There's more screen effects, there's more particle effects on the console versions. Don't know why, but it is quite pronounced. You can see it quite clearly when you're playing the game. There's just seemed to be a lot more going on. Now, if we come to the cutscene here, the first thing you notice is Assassin's Creed 4 looks even better in the day. The scenes, the water, the backgrounds, the sand, the clothes, the colour is very, very vibrant. The character models are very well realised, the animation's very crisp and very clean, everything looks exactly as it should, everything looks quite real and quite realistic, and objects interact with you. You can see the level of detail here drop down, watch his hair and clothes drop there, where it jumps from the character model of the cutscene to the character model in-game. Now you can see the pixel crawl I'm on about in the background. If you look at the trees as I come over around this corner and look to the distance, you can see just as they move there, as like they're under a mesh, and that's the resolution difference. Now realistically, that's it. That's your huge 900p difference that you notice. And it does affect more in certain scenes when you're sinking and you're in the air and the camera pans around, or you're out at sea and you've got a ship battle going on. You can see it more. It doesn't distract from the game any, and it's a bit of a ball ache, but it doesn't affect the visuals of the game. And realistically, between the PC, the PS4 and the Xbox One, they all have the same amount of effects going on. They all have the same amount of pixel shaders and filters. There's no additional stuff on any version that's outweighing the other versions. There's the rain thing which you saw, but that just seems more of like what they chose. If we jump to the PS4 version, first thing you can see is that sharpness of the image that I mentioned. It just seems less rough around the edges. It's very minor. You barely notice it, but side by side you can see it. The other thing you notice is the colour. It does look a lot more washed out, and I haven't bumped up the contrast here or the brightness to make it look washed out. The PS4 and the PC version share the same kind of output. They're very similar in their colour balance, and it just looks a lot brighter and cleaner. And the Xbox One doesn't. And I'll touch on that in a comparison a little bit later in the video, specifically to show the difference as it stands. But if we just talk about the PS4 and the PC versions for a second, they are by and large identical. They both run at the same native resolution. They both have a lovely smooth frame rate, locked at 30 for one and 60 variable for the PC. But fundamentally, they're the same. There is more options on the PC. You've obviously got full screen FSSA. You can run your one MSA. So there is more anti-aliasing solutions. But the game is quite hungry. Now, to see it run on the PC in a minute, which we'll jump to, you do need a pretty decent PC, and you're not going to get a locked 60 frames per second. You have to actually drop the render level of the environment on the PC version to keep the frame rate. It can be a bit hungry, and that's CPU related. It's not GPU related. The other thing you might notice is these weird pixel blobs dropping in on the screen here on the PC version. Now, it doesn't happen in game. It's not a huge glaring bug that I'm just missing on PC. It doesn't do that in game. That's just my output render as I've put this video together. So I don't know what's going on with that. I'll check my render output for my PC feed. But yeah, it's gone a bit wonky. But it doesn't do it in the game. Don't worry about it. It does look crisp, beautiful, and lovely on the PC. Now, talking about the Xbox One, which I'll jump to in a second, if we go from the PC version here, you can see when I dive in and grab this geezer, look at the trees and the bushes around me. Now, they look beautiful, they move, they look nice and green, they look bright, they look vibrant, but if you look at it flick between this and the Xbox One version now, as I move across, you'll see the difference that I'm talking about. Now, the colour is far more pronounced there. There's far more depth to that colour, there's far more feeling to the leaves in the background. It just looks a lot crisper and brighter. I've not played around with these, I've left them as standard for this very reason. It's because the Xbox One has a slightly darker output as standard, which stands out more in dark scenes, but in bright scenes like this, it makes the depth of colour look a lot better and a lot cleaner. Which is a good thing. Thumbs up there, Microsoft. The bad thing is they do this sharpening filter on their output on the upscale. Now, God only knows why Microsoft thought this was a good idea, and internally it might be, but most games seems to have it. Battlefield, they got rid of it. They managed to get, obviously DICE used their own solution or did something else to bypass the standard one. But you end up on this with a solution that makes the lower resolution look worse, and it actually makes it look more jagged, and it's done to create pop, I think, on the textures and create detail, but all it does is highlight the fact the resolution's lower, so you end up with a far more over-sharpened image. You can do this yourself on your own PS4 PC if you wanted to, by just upping the sharpening on your TV to stupid levels like 10 or 100, whatever your TV will go to, and it ends up with the same output. Why you would do it, I don't know. If Microsoft, if you're watching this video, stop doing it, or at least allow developers to choose if they want to use it or not. Hopefully DICE will lead the way in getting people to choose other solutions, but I do feel as if with driver support at the moment, there's probably a lot more to come from the output, and we're looking at very early solutions from both sides. Now here we go into the water version, still on Xbox One. You can see the water looks lovely, lots of reflections, lots of refractions in the screen, multiple pixel shaders going on, there's loads of God rays, there's light shining there through the trees over the brow of the hill, lots of lens flare effects. You can see the lovely beautiful blue sky in the background and beautiful wavery multi-textured sea there with detail in the background. The game looks lovely, it feels like you're on a tropical holiday in the Caribbean, enjoying yourself, enjoying the sun. You know, staying in the boat out at sea and being a complete badass as a pirate for the day. And, you know, this is where we could touch on the game a little bit. And that's what the game is. The game is an open world game that allows you to live your Pirates of the Caribbean ambitions to your heart's content. The game plays beautiful, it looks beautiful on all versions, and I include last gen in that. If we flick to the PC version for a second, as we're sailing out here on the Xbox One, just take a look again at the depth of colour and the depth of field in the shot there. You can see how deep and bright everything looks, and we go to the PC version and everything looks like a little bit sharper, that little bit cleaner, but you lose that colour depth, and it's something that's a bit, I don't know, it's not as bad when you're playing the game, but it does make a difference when you're doing side-by-side comparisons, and it's probably just as stark as the resolution difference. But realistically, again, those horrible pixelations that go on with my render, I don't know what's going on there, they are the same game. You can see there the water effects and the physics as that whale splashes through the water, and that's one of the things that's quite additional in next gen to last gen. The water just is more dynamic, more realistic, more textured than it is in last gen. If we do a slow transition here from the PC to the Xbox One, you can see that colour contrast I'm talking about. The depth of everything looks a lot neater, a lot crisper, a lot brighter. You can see some difference in the cutscenes when you look at last gen versions, which I'll touch on in a second, where some of the bokeh and the depth of field and the blurring is more subtle on the newer consoles and the PC, whereas the Xbox 360 PS3 it looks a bit just smeared with Vaseline to give it that depth of field effect. If we jump now to the Xbox 360 version, first thing you can see, resolution, boom, way down, looks a bit blurrier, looks a bit mushier, but realistically same game, a lot of popping, background shadows popping in, popping out. It's not an ugly game, it still looks lovely. Again, the other difference I'm highlighting here is the fact that you clip through everything, so when you walk through bushes and everything, nothing moves around you, you're just clipping through everything as if you're just completely not there, like a ghost. We cut to a cutscene now, the Xbox One version there at the bottom left, and the outside is Xbox 360. You firstly going to see is, actually, do you know what? It's not that different, and that contrast that I'm talking about is still there with the 360, which has got that standard white output. The depth going on the Xbox One version does stand out quite a lot. But it is a much darker image as standard, which you've got to get used to, and you've got to set your TV for. But it does create you a nice, detailed, crisper image. But fundamentally, it's not a huge amount of difference between last gen and next gen. You can see the background, the bushes move and waver in the next gen version. They don't move at all. Now water, if you take a look at that water, there's screen reflection, there's no light in the bottom of the sea. It just seems like one layer above, a bit underneath, and some standard screen space reflection, which looks nice. It looks beautiful, and you know, you would be happy with that water any day of the week. It looks lovely. You can see the resolution on the boat is quite low, and as we get up on there, if we jump to the Xbox One, instantly you can see a huge difference in the water. There's a far more pixel shaders going on all over there. There's probably multiple 4 layers at least in that water. And when you jump in here, you'll see that I've got there the water refraction on the sand bed, and then it kind of drifts away with the depth of the land getting further away, and the light passes over it, it's shimmering and moving, and there's just multiple layers, and that pretty much sums up the differences in the game. PC, Xbox One, PS4, they are what PC has been for the last 3 or 4 years on console versions, ports. Same game with more bells and whistles and visual candy added on, with a better IQ and a better resolution. That's it. That's what we're getting with this next gen version of Assassin's Creed. The same game across all platforms that looks better and runs that little bit better on the next gen versions. If you've got this game on Xbox 360 or PS3, do not think about buying it, in my mind, on the next gen version. You're getting the same game. You're not missing out on anything. You're not going to feel like you've been cheated. That said, if you have a PC that can run this, or you've got a next gen console, then don't buy the old one, buy the new one, because it looks that much better. And this is just me flicking between like with a PC on the same video screen. You can see it's not a huge amount of difference, but there is a difference there. And it will look obviously more pronounced on a big 40-inch plus TV in your house, as it does in mine. All I can say is Assassin's Creed 4 is a lovely looking game that's been very well made, and it's a real fun game to play, and it's got a lot of depth in characters, the story, and interaction that you can do. Will you be happy if you got it on Xbox One, PC? Yes, you will. You'll be happy on anything you buy it on, anything you play it on. But you can see that everything looks that much better and crisper on PC. But no matter what, you'll have a whale of a time on any version as you see fit to play it on. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the comparison. Hopefully it's answered any questions you've had about all these versions together. See you on the next one.